This is episode 169 of the Phil Swallow podcast, being recorded live on Monday the 18th of March 2024. And this is called Forward March, because hopefully we're springing forward and marching, and obviously it's March. And as usual, this will be, as I briefly alluded to earlier, this is going to be on audio and on video. And I love it when people get involved, so hopefully we'll have some nice comments coming through. I've got some data suggesting it's quite quiet at the moment. So, but I think I'm live. I think it's happening. So that's good. I'm just going to fill the time for now and talk about the fact that we haven't really had too much actual spring weather. I'm going to talk a bit about that on one of the subject points in the video. And also I saw a weather forecast suggesting we're going to get, maybe not us in the southeast, but in the Midlands, it's going to be coldest weather for 250 years or something. So if you're based up there, watch out. That's going to be towards the end of the month, which is Easter weekend. It's that funny time of year coming up. I mean, Easter's a bit earlier this year, isn't it? Easter's the end of the month, and then we've got to wait a month for May Day, and then Whitsun a bit later. I guess there's a bit of distance between the two. We don't always get it that way. I normally lift my computer up, and I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have done, but I make a point of looking at the camera, which is something I always try and do. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make a gentle start into, thank you for confirming you can see and hear me. I will make a gentle start into this particular show. As I say, episode 169, Forward March, 18th of March 2024. So the first thing is the talk that I did on Benjamin Beeson. So Benjamin Beeson was a veteran of the Charge of the Light Brigade. And after he left the army, he joined the police and he operated initially in Streatham. And then he moved to Sanderstead, to the police station that existed then on Limpsfield Road, almost opposite Orchard Way. Is it Orchard Road? It's Orchard Road, isn't it? And quite an interesting life from where he was born and brought up in Norfolk. And I've done a video about this. This has been out there for just about over a year, I think now. And the talk I gave to the Sanderstead local history group, and it went down very well. In fact, they had to add more seats, bring more seats in, and because the hall was ended up completely full. They normally do a few rows. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, 50, 60 people, something like that. And it was it ended up being a full house. And it was great to see. I mean, it was really good. I loved giving the talk. We had some conversation afterwards based on some feedback about some of the people at the back couldn't quite hear. I know the sound can get lost in some of these church halls, so we're actually going to, using the wireless mics that I use to do the videos, we're going to bring in a little speaker thing for the next one, so we'll try that out. I'm getting involved in these talks from a technical perspective, but I don't mind. It makes perfect sense because I've got some knowledge and some gear. So yeah, really enjoyed doing that talk, Benjamin Beeson, and I think there's some talk that I might be giving it again to another group. So that was good. What else happened? Oh, right. So yes, was it last week? I lose track. I put a video live, which I called Sanderstead Walk and Talk Revisited, because I first did the Sanderstead video in 2021, and actually I might have mentioned 18 months. No, I don't know. Anyway, 2021, August 2021 was the first time I visited Sanderstead, one of my very early videos, and I discovered a walk that had been done or written out by the Bourne Society by Joy Gadsby, and it kind of meshed in with the walk that I'd done before, which was my own prep, and I was able to take in some new areas within Sanderstead and cover again with maybe some more information some of the existing areas. And with any of these, you always learn a lot the more you go out and visit. So that was exciting to do. It's been watched quite a lot in the first week or so, which is great. Has some good engagement, and I find it's an interesting subject. And actually, I don't know if you know the area that well, but Sanderstead Part 2, really good. We'll comment later. Thank you very much. Thank you. So that was basically not my homework, but I made it my own work, I suppose, to be fair. Now, Sanderstead Library. This isn't in my little blurb, but I was contacted today by a friend who's involved in Sanderstead Residents Association, and the library is under the threat of closure. They've got some comments that the council have made about what they would like to see there, so that it could be run by other people and sort of take out the payroll from the council. Various things about community hubs and this kind of thing. Thank you for the others who just joined, according to my stats. So Sanderstead Library down at the bottom of the hill. I mean, Dad used to take us there when we were kids, and I always remember the lovely building there, going in and having a look round. I've not personally visited there for a while, but I'm going to meet up with Richard tomorrow, who's involved in the campaign, and see what I can do from my reach on here and maybe on other social media. Probably just going to do a short video, literally a YouTube short, something like that. But they've got campaign web pages and things like that, so we can link to those, kind of call to action, link to those, and highlight the need to keep these resources, because once they go, they're gone. In Selsdon Library, so our local one, they made it so that there's out of hours access. So they're only open 4 days a week maybe, but you can go in the interim, and you've got like a special code that you can apply to get in, sort of to do with your card, barcode and stuff. I've not used it, but you can do it to drop off books and stuff like that. So the other thing you can do nowadays, of course, is order books online, so you can get them down to various apps, BorrowBox and Libby and various others. And I found that useful. There's been sometimes I've needed to do some research. I've not really wanted to go and invest in a book as such, but it's been able to just download a book or borrow a book from one of these online sources and get some information together. So that's really good, really cool. I did buy another book recently though, because when I was doing some research in another book on Sanderstead, it made reference to a Heroes of the Crimea book, and this looked pretty good. I looked it up and I found a copy on Amazon for 37 pence. It was actually Abe Books, one of these second-hand book companies. So I paid the 37p plus delivery of £2.80, and it's a really nice book, so I need to sort of revisit that. This is the thing, once you start to do some of this research, you get more interested in the subjects, even though the Crimean War back in the middle 19th century wasn't necessarily something I was targeting to get to know about. The Benjamin Beeson story has led me on to that, so other things may come of it, I don't know. There is a charge of the Light Brigade Veterans or Memorial site on Facebook, which I'm a member of, and I did post my video there and had some nice comments, so that's enabled me to get some more traction. So yeah, Sanderstead video live. Have a look if you've not looked at it. Sanderstead Walk and Talk Revisited. It's a little bit shorter than some of the recent ones, and that's just by the nature of it, really. I tried to keep it punchy. And also, I did ask a question in there. At the top of Mitchley Hill, so if you're coming down Mitchley Hill from the Limpsfield Road and you look to your right up the top of the hill, there are 4 concrete, they look like platforms with, solid iron manhole cover type things on the top. And I'm waiting for some more suggestions as to what they relate to. They're clearly visible on maps, modern maps. And you can see them; they stick out above the top of the hill. Someone said that there was it was meant to be services for a housing estate, water supplies and stuff, and the planning permission was turned down. It never happened many moons ago, so it could be that. I don't know. We shall wait and see. And that's just one of those where it piques my interest, I suppose. I go out on a walk, didn't know about it, see it or them, and then decide what on earth could that be about. So that's something that's in my my interest. So we passed the month of February, so YouTube shared some stats with me. 8,600 views, 840 watch hours, and 56 new subscribers, which is great. It's actually gone down a bit since then. They basically give you of those key measures, they give you a kind of a bold upwards arrow if it's on the upward trend. This is it's for the last 28 days, the default on one of the MI apps that they give you. Or it's just a kind of tick if you're roughly in the right ballpark, which I am. Or it's a kind of downward, I think. If I've not had any going down recently, thankfully, I don't really want that. I want the channel to grow, even if, because of the nature of what I do, it's not topical. It'll just be when people find the site, and then they can come along for the ride. I also had a meeting with YouTube last week. So they reach out to creators to get feedback about things that they're developing. And sometimes in the past I filled these in, but I think if your channel's not of a certain size, there's not really much that they can gain. Because I've gone over the 1,000 subscribers. Hi, Jeff. Good to see you, mate. Because I've gone over the 1,000 subscribers now, and I'm a kind of YouTube partner, they said, yeah, we'll have a chat with you. And this guy got on a call, and it was all to do with ads. Now, I wanted to kind of ask you about ads, because I had some feedback, a comment about the ads that come up during the video, and I looked into what I could do, and I've got a degree of control about ads, and that's what this call was about. They want to change how, as a creator, you can set how many ads you want to see and where they actually appear. And the thing is, when you are a smaller channel, you have no control whatsoever. YouTube run ads, you don't get anything for it, and that's just the way it is. They just use your kind of ads, use your videos just to run ads as and when. Now, what I didn't appreciate is that you can set these slots for when they run ads, but they won't necessarily run ads in those slots, and they might not necessarily do them to the same person in the same time. It's a bit of a science, I think, a bit of an algorithm thing. So I shared the feedback. They appreciated it, and I said that for me, if I'm like watching a TV program, if on a commercial channel, they often let you have the first chunk a bit longer to get into the program, and then maybe every 15 minutes or so you'll get an ad break. And I think that's a reasonable kind of compromise. And I said that if I've got some control over that, that's what I'd look to do with the videos. If YouTube said, right, your video starts, and after 1 minute 30 seconds we're going to run an ad, which may be skippable. You know, sometimes you can just skip ad, other times you have to wait a bit, stuff like that. And I said, yeah, I don't want it to just be that you're just kind of getting settled in, and I've just maybe put my map on the screen to say, this is where I'm going to go today with some graphics and stuff like that. And then it just goes bang, buy a beef burger from these people or whatever. So I'm looking to see what they do on the back of that. We had some very interesting conversations. He was very grateful for my feedback, a guy in the States. So we shall see. I mean, I won't be the only creator, of course, that they speak with, but I suppose I was grateful for the fact that they do reach out to try and refine their product. Say ads are one of those things we see on social media. They have to monetize this content. There is a cost to it. I get a little bit now, because I've been monetized as a channel. I get a little bit of money back for ads that are served. But obviously what I don't want to do is just say, yeah, run ads every 30 seconds throughout the video, because no one will ever watch anything. So you have to be mindful, strike a balance, really. And as I say, if I was a smaller channel, I would have no choice anyway. So it's be interesting to understand what you guys think of it. I mean, I've got YouTube Premium, which I pay $12.99 a month for. I mean, there's subscriptions everywhere now, isn't there? But what that does is take out all ads completely and gives you access to some other things like YouTube Music and whatever, which I don't really bother with. But I have to say, if you get used to watching YouTube now with ads, and then you go to Premium, and that the moment you click on a video, you know you're going to watch it end to end. It's like a night and day difference. It's really, really good. And I ummed and ahed before I handed over the $12.99 a month, but it was worth it. And the key with these things is to subscribe on a web page direct to YouTube. Don't do it via an app store, because Apple or whoever will add a bit more onto that for their own profit. Right. So what else have we got? Yes, a video planned for... This is a spin-off in some ways from when I did the Botley walk. And I thought, I've noticed some things down there that I want to discover in detail. I mean, I've discovered them for research, but I don't really want to do that 600-foot climb up to the top again. So I think I've worked out a route where there's going to be probably a few 100 feet of climb, but hopefully more gentle. So I may not get out there this week. Depends on the diary, depends on the weather. But I may get out there next week. In fact, I kind of need to do it next week because I need to keep my record going of one country-based walk per month since about last summer. So, I might just have to nip out and do it, but I've got a few things in the diary. Don't like the idea of YouTube Premium as Google is very censorship heavy in comments. Yeah, well, that's another thing. It's such an ever-changing world. There was something else that they put out today, a creator update, and it was about the use of AI or generative AI. And when you go through and upload a video, you have to declare certain things. So even with the ads, I have to self-certify to say they don't contain, harmful things or graphic images or whatever, other than this. So you do a kind of declaration, and they're doing one now. They said they're going to add in to say that you haven't used any generative AI, or declare if you have, and they'll probably put some kind of warning on there. It's just to try and keep it real. They're talking about that you would superimpose someone else's face on yours and all that kind of stuff, or somebody else's. So they're looking to bring those things in. But yes, video planned for the Titsey area. That will have some kind of archaeological type references, as will some others that I've got planned for that area. And we've spoken before on some of these about sort of Nor Hill and that kind of thing. And I've been experimenting with graphics. So whether I can kind of create some models that I can then use in the video to help illustrate certain things. Haven't gone too far with it yet, although I did create a Hawker Hurricane and an ME109 recently, which I'm going to use in a future video. Hi Guy, welcome. So just for those of you who've joined recently, just what I've covered so far, a bit of a recap. So I did my talk on Benjamin Beeson at a packed All Saints Church Hall, Onslow Gardens, Sanderstead. My latest video is live. That's Sanderstead Revisited Walk and Talk. So it's a catch-up, follow-up from the previous one that I did. Stats are looking good for February. 8,600 views, 840 hours watched, 56 new subscribers. And I had a meeting with YouTube about things like ads and placement of ads. And then just now talked about the video planned for the Titsey area of Surrey. So this weekend we went to a family wedding. The church is in Crawley, St John's Church, and then we went to Cottesmore Golf and Country Club, and it was brilliant. The weather was sunny in the morning, and then kind of the sun went in. It was quite cool in the afternoon when we were doing the photos, but the venue was tremendous, golf course and all that sort of stuff. So maybe we'll revisit there again. And I don't drink much generally. I've always got the car with me. Sue doesn't drive, and if we go out, I just don't bother having anything so that I can have a clean bill of health if I'm pulled over. But because we were staying the night, it was an opportunity to experiment. We got through some very nice red wine and stuff later on, so yeah, it was good. But I was perfectly fine to drive home, if a little tired. And a bit of dancing happened, actually. There are some videos out there, possibly on my Facebook, hopefully not. But yeah, I took to the dance floor. And so far I can still walk, even at my age. So that was great. Family wedding, loved it. Now, question. I don't know if I mentioned as the next two subjects. The first one I probably didn't mention, but I had a car tyre issue. And that linked back to the past and to a video that I made once before. So I had a puncture, saw the screw sticking out the rear tyre, and I went down to a place in Whiteleaf, Caterham Pro Tyre. They only had one person working, and they said they couldn't do it for a couple of days. Try Raisbury. And I went along to Raisbury, where I mentioned in my Whiteleaf Walk and Talk video, and has been there since I first had a car. And they were brilliant, but it cost me another 2 tyres because they said there was the wear on the front 2 tyres was making it illegal, which I hadn't appreciated. So yeah, 300 plus pound later, I've got 2 new tyres on the front of the car. So yeah, can you ever go to one of these things and you end up just paying like 20 quid and fixing the problem? There's always something else. Anyway, so that was it, car tyres, but it was good. Raisbury were brilliant, absolutely really first class, friendly, professional, yeah, really, really helpful. And they didn't have the tyres in stock, so it was just to visit the following morning. Now, the next thing, car related, did I mention that I got fined? I don't think I did. Now in Croydon, and this actually may be countrywide, they've got this Healthy School Streets initiative. And what it means is that between the kind of school morning hours and lunchtime to afternoon hours, unless you've got a permit or you're an emergency vehicle, you're not meant to drive in these streets. It's near schools. The idea is that you walk or just, I don't know, you have to walk, don't you? Cycle maybe. And I knew nothing about this. I had to take my daughter to Croydon University Hospital. She'd broken a collarbone. We had to go for a visit. And is it electric? They go, yes. Well, it's hybrid. And I did look that up, actually. It's hybrid. And it could be that the weight is added to that. I think it was also an alignment problem that I probably didn't look at quickly enough. So it caused this kind of wear. So, yeah, the Healthy School Streets thing, I think it's a money-making scheme, I'll be honest. But anyway, I went through at about 2:15, 2:20, and the afternoon slot for when they want to keep these healthy is from 2 o'clock till 4. Well, schools are still well in operation at 2 o'clock till probably 3. I went through their hospital visit in my hybrid car on pure electric, so no emissions, being very healthy. And sure enough, I didn't realise this. It was a nice kind of run through Elmwood School, Lodge Road area, West Croydon. And I just got this notification through from the leasing company, and they said, right, you've been fined. Well, they paid the half, so it's 130 quid. They paid the 65 on my behalf, and they added 30 quid admin fee. Thanks, guys, Volvo. And so, yeah, 95 quid, didn't know anything about it. And you get a very nice still image of your car and a video clip of your car going along past the camera. But they don't always put on these signs that there's a camera and that you might be fined. Sometimes it's just school pedestrian zone, limited access, limited hours, and you kind of have to read between the lines. So I have on my channel done 1 or 2 kind of rant type videos in the past. I don't do too many. They still get quite a lot of views actually. And I'm tempted to take a wander down there to Croydon and almost do a kind of 2-way thing where I highlight some of because the Victorian houses around there are huge and beautiful houses. But on the flip side, the council are doing this kind of, I see as a sharp practice amongst many sharp practices that we see nowadays. So yeah, be very careful. I think, as I say, this is only going to grow, this thing. I mean, I can't see them doing it on a school, say Selsdon Primary School, which is on the main Addington Road. I can't believe they would even try it somewhere like that. But if you're in the Croydon area and a school is on a side street, look very carefully for any signs that you're going through, because it doesn't give you much wriggle room. As I say, I think it's something like 8 until 10 in the morning and then 2 till 4, something ridiculous. So yeah, not very happy. And because the leasing company pay the fine up front, because obviously it's, if you pay within so many days, it's half of the full fee. Because it's paid, you don't really get a chance to challenge it. So I kind of lost out always. But yes, beware of healthy school streets coming to an area near you, possibly. So that was that. Now, I have mentioned in the past where I was doing some research into the occupant of a house in Selsdon, Mountwood House, and I found out they had quite an interesting historic story, which I've not committed to anything yet. It's just I've got various documents for the research, and some photos and various things, but I haven't put it into anything yet. And I had to request freedom of information access to get information about this person. So I found their name on a National Archive register, but they couldn't provide anything online. It wasn't like click and you can get the information, which you can do with some of their records, a few. Anyway, they had to go through various processes to say, why do you want the information? Okay, well, we'll go and have a look at that and see if we can give you the information. And they said to me that the information is now available. Some of it might be redacted, and I think that's because this particular person, there needed to be an involvement of MI5 in their history. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? So I hope that the redaction is limited and that I can still get some information about that person. I think that will complete the amount of research I'm likely to get, and then I can look to tell the story in the best possible way. So I'm going on the 2nd of April, 2nd or 3rd, I think it's the 2nd, up to Kew. And you have to book a slot, and I've got to bring some ID and all that sort of stuff, and they will hopefully have the file available, and I can just go through, and I think pretty certain you can take photos and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to seeing that information to see if I can then complete it and tell the story that I want to tell, because I think it's quite something, not just about the subject, but also his son. So I kind of alluded to it in the past. So that was cool. I'm working on a new talk that probably won't ever need to be a video, because it's I've got a couple of talks booked where I didn't agree the subject at this point. And what I want to do is a kind of history from here, where I am now. And of course, around us, we've got the history of Addington. We've got Archbishops of Canterbury, Henry VIII, Anne Boleyn a bit further along, Selsdon Park. We've got Sanderstead and Sanderstead Court, and it goes on and on. I'm giving a talk in Caterham in October. So I'm going to actually kind of do a historical journey from where I leave my house now on the way to Caterham. And because I've covered pretty much all of that, with the exception of Caterham Valley itself so far in video, I think I'll have a lot of content to share. So that'll be put into a slide deck. And I'm quite looking forward to it, actually. There'll be lots of maps and things like that. And this is the thing. So I've got the research, which can be anything from screenshots, maps, images, photos, documents, whatever. But to then put it into something that I can either tell a video with or share a story or a slide pack with takes quite a bit of work, particularly the way I work. So I'm looking forward to putting that together. So I'm going to kind of call it History on Your Doorstep or something like that. Working title. And the other thing that happened, this is almost the end of my agenda. Could be a short show tonight, guys. I hear the cheers. No. These get some nice views, actually. I've had normally around about 100 or so from most of these shows. The Bourne Society, which I refer to a lot, they're the kind of main historical society for the area. They invited me to one of their council meetings, which is like, I suppose it's like their committee, I suppose. And I know most of the people there anyway, through giving talks and the like. And I went along there last Monday, and it was really, really good meeting. So I'm going to become more involved in that. I think they meet every 2 or 3 months. But there were some interesting snippets that came out of there. And one was an area that I've not visited yet, but been meaning to do it ever since last summer, and that's Chaldon Church, where they've got this fantastic mural, like the sort of story of life mural. Quite famous. It was uncovered a few decades back when they were doing some decorating, some renovation work. But behind there is Caulston Court, and they've got permission, or there's been some funding from the county council to do some archaeology there. And where they've got access at the moment, they've done some geophysical surveys where you can look at the resistance and look at what structures might be under the surface without digging it all up. Think Time Team, that was the first thing they ever always did in Time Team back in the day. So I'm quite keen to get involved in that as well. I'm not not planning to be an archaeologist, but it does link very nicely with some of the things that we can do and stories that we can tell. So it's very much a kind of high level idea at this stage, but it's something that I'm looking forward to getting involved in. So that's something that's on the agenda going forward as well. So other things to just briefly cover off the top of my head. So I've definitely mentioned this in previous shows about the interview I did with 103-year-old Marguerite Rathbone, lovely lady. So I'm very near to finalising that video now. I've got some more information. So basically, this is quite different to what I've done before. I've done one or two interview style videos. One I've done on Dave Hewitt, which is on my channel. So I sat down at Marguerite's house and we went through her life story. So put that to video, but I wanted some additional information and photos and stuff that I can use. So I've now got those. So I'll be doing some editing this week. I will share it with the family initially. And then we might need to do some tweaks. And then once we've done that, we'll put it out there. It's a really lovely story. There's some quite tragic elements to it around the Second World War time. But that's quite something I'm really looking forward to getting out there and be interested in. Really what the viewers that I have and the stuff that they hopefully you like seeing on the channel, that I can get a view to. Do you like this sort of thing as well? Because I really do like going out and doing the interview subjects from time to time. As well as carrying on to explore the area. So that's that. But yeah, Caterham Valley is one. I must do Caterham Valley this year. There's all sorts of publications. It was typically a railway town. It's the end of the line, although there was apparently once a line that went from Caterham to Red Hill somehow. I think, pretty certain. Someone may have even told me here. So Caterham Valley I must do. It's in the middle of changing quite a bit. There's been some big building work going on, and I think they're going to do I don't know, it almost looks like not a pedestrianisation, but they're going to bring in the pavement areas much wider, and it could get a little bit like a bottleneck down there. But yes, so Caterham Valley will happen, and I think once I've done that, it kind of completes the main connected towns from me to that area. Godstone I will probably also do, because the walk that I did for Sanderstead Revisited, around about the same time as that, they did one for Godstone, like a trail. So I've known Godstone quite a lot. I drove through it a couple of times last week. So it'd be nice to understand a bit more about that, learning for me, and then go out and tell the story and share it with you guys. So there's some of the things I will be working on. I think the country walks will continue in that kind of Chelsham, Woldingham kind of area. I did wonder about going back and doing some London ones. I've dabbled in London. I think I mentioned on the last show, for some reason they don't get too much traction. I wonder now that I've got more used to doing this type of video, whether some London areas, that if I did a very specific highlight on a certain area rather than trying to do too much, that might work, because I know that there's one area where it was built and developed as a kind of residential and sort of commercial area, and it never took off. It's a bit like a ghost town right in the middle of London, so I might do that. Sue's cousin gave me some information there, so yeah. So that is all I was looking to cover in terms of sharing stuff from my agenda on this show. I'm just going to make a note that I put in Caterham Valley, just so I don't forget that when I publish this. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to chat about or to raise or comment on? Now's an opportunity, and while I take a little drink, please tap away. There's no sport on tonight. Right. Phil, did you ever hear the story about the keys in Kenley that held the crown jewels during the Second World War? Wonder if that's true. Now, that I do not know, Jeff. I'd not heard that. So we were saying, what, from safety security perspective, I guess. Worth looking up, I guess. So I'll see what I can find out there. And what did I think of the end of Masters of the Air? What was Cable Street like? Reminds me of Trapped by the Men They Couldn't Hang, Ghosts of Cable Street. Right, so Masters of the Air, prior to it being shown, that last episode, and hopefully there's no spoilers here, I thought, I hope there's not too much about the kind of prisoner of war aspect. And then just before we watched it, I thought, but actually that was a very huge part of what happened, prisoners of war. And there's probably not too many movies that cover that. So I like what they did there. Also, I'd not appreciated, my personal view was, if you were a prisoner of war and you were being kept under the protocols of such in such a situation, that you would be to a degree safe. But they communicated a fear that they had no idea what was going to happen. They could have been, and were a couple of times, potentially invaded by their own troops from the air. You didn't know whether the Germans were just going to just take you out. You didn't know whether the Russians might have gone a bit overzealous, and there was an element of that nearly happened. I thought it was well put together, actually. It gave a perspective that you don't always see. And at the very end of it, hi Peter, at the very end of it, it was weird, and it probably was portrayed very well, where it's just you're packing stuff in the boxes and off you go. You know, you've done your bit, and it was a huge part of their lives, and then they go back to being various. Well, that was nice what they did at the end, actually, where they referenced certain characters, how they show what they did after the war, and a lot of them went into very good study, you know, Ivy League type universities and the like, and had brilliant careers and contributions, which I remember reading about after Band of Brothers, Winters and co. You know, they had these, they were kind of complete and utter heroes, and they go back, and I suppose in many ways you just want to forget that, and you just want to focus on what's that following stage of your life. You know, you survived the war, but now just, you know, put yourself into something different. So I thought that was very good. The Cable Street musical was absolutely superb. So this was Southwark Playhouse Theatre, and the story is interesting in that the tensions that we see on the streets of London now have parallels with what happened in the Cable Street riots. But the cast were brilliant. So a lot of singing, movement. They did this brilliant quick change where they were doing swaps of time. So it starts out where there's a lady on, just as going on one of these guided tours. Well, she actually joins into one of the guided tours. So it's a guy from today, baseball cap, clipboard, you know, with a gang of people that he's taking around, pointing out the different parts of Cable Street and what it used to represent, wartime and stuff like that. And then they did this amazing, smooth change where you went back in time when they were the characters at that time in the 30s. Brilliantly put together. I think it might have finished its run now. I've seen some stuff on Facebook about it. But yeah, Cable Street, the musical. Sue and I, at the end of it, felt that's worthy of transfer to the West End. We saw Operation Mincemeat on previews when it had moved to the West End, and it was brilliant. And they've just gone on from strength to strength. It is a fantastic show. Complete madness, but sharp as a tack, humorous. Again, lots of movement, lots of action, if you like. But yeah, Operation Mincemeat was brilliant. So Cable Street, if you get a chance to see it, brilliant. Caves are opposite Hayes Lane in Kenley. Right, okay, I know what you mean. So I referenced that, Jeff, when I did the video last summer, where I started off at Tythe Pitshaw Lane, went down past the quarry. There's a kind of footpath that goes down the side of it, down to the bottom of the hill. And then I went along. Actually, I may not have gone that far, to be fair. I may not have gone that far, because I went up and then over and back round Riddlesdown back home. But I did do some research about that location, because I think that's a bit further on. And I think that's where there were... I thought that's where they had bomb shelters and things, or air raid shelters in the war. So I'll have to look at that. But yeah, there is a company now that do produce lenses there, optics and stuff like that. So I'll have to have a look at the Crown Jewels thing. That sounds interesting. So yeah, cool. Right, so I'm going to ask again, has anyone got anything that they would like to have a chat about or like some comment on? I'm certainly going to look up the crown jewels bit. I'm not sure how long it takes to actually get chats through here. Sometimes there's a bit of a delay. I think when Sue first watched one of these that I did in a test, it was kind of a delay before things actually come out. It wasn't full real time, as if you were having like a video call or that kind of thing. But yeah, actually, when I did that walk on Riddlesdown, I mapped out a few more, because where the common land ends, it's Corporation of London land down there on Godstone Road, just before the houses start that lead into the kind of more built up area and Purley and stuff, St James's Road, there's the site of Gardener's Pleasure Resort, which is nothing to do with Gardeners, the family that owned and ran the airfield, and Yardley Cosmetics from Wallingham. But yeah, Gardener's Pleasure Resort was, how it sounds, a pleasure resort back in the day. So I think there might be a blue plaque or something down there, possibly a Bourne Society one. But I do mean to go and visit that at some point. So yes. So what I'm going to do with this, as I do with all of them, the agenda that I put together in a little note on here, that will be there for a kind of reference point to what's going to be included in the show. The Croydon Market. Do you mean Surrey Street Market, Peter? I'll answer as if you do mean Surrey Street. It is operating. It's nothing like as busy as it used to be. When I last went down there, there were still a few numbers of fruit and veg. I think there was like a fish stall and some maybe finished goods and clothing and that kind of thing, and some like street food. There's a few street food operators, which are always nice because the smell's great when you go past. Yeah, okay. But I think, Peter, for anyone who remembers it how it was, the emotion or reaction you would probably experience would be one of shock initially, because you think, wow, it used to be literally from the Millets end, Millets is now gone, right the way through to the sort of Crown Hill end, opposite, well, it was nearly opposite Brentford Nylons or whatever on the corner there. It used to be just chocker, didn't it? There were, I don't know, a dozen fruit and veg stalls for the length of the street, something like that. But yes, it's quite different now, quite different. Did the CJ not go to Canada? Crown Jewels. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I mean, I don't know. That's a good point, actually, about the Crown Jewels. Did they go to Canada? Kenley, yes, because of Kenley Aerodrome, I guess, and the bombs fell everywhere. Worth a check. It might be one of these things that they never actually tell us where they went. But it was, Peter, it was a real buzz. It was a real happening place, the market there. And it wasn't, there was the market itself, but even the shops just either side of it and the pubs, it was just a hive of activity. I remember the walkway at the top, looking over and looking down on it. I did a video there. I've got a series of Croydon How It Is that I do every November. I think I visited Surrey Street in the second one, which would be 2021. If you have a look there, that'll give you an idea. And I don't think it would have changed too much. Right, okay, Jeff, if you're interested, when you worked at Croydon Council, got video of you in the lorry driving from Kenley to Purley on the other side of the road when the floods were on. Yeah, if you could send it to me, that would be brilliant. Email or whatever is fine, my WhatsApp's probably online, but on the channel page it's got all my contact details, but yeah, phil@philswallow.com on the email will be brilliant. That'd be interesting. Of course, the other thing is that the Bourne waters are flowing now. So there's been all sorts of references and people doing little videos and photos, done by myself. So yeah, the Bourne waters are rising. We should possibly be worried by that, but maybe not. Okay, right. Well, so a few people have dropped off. So I think I will probably end it there. and say thank you very much once again for joining on. Oh, the numbers have gone up now. Just as I'm going to close it. Jeff, I would love to watch that as I worked for Croydon Council for 40 years. Okay, Jeff. Now, if there's a way I can do something with that, Jeff, that would be cool. So how long ago would that have been, roughly? Kenley to Purley. Floods. So are we talking year 2000? Something like that? I know it was roundabout then that they had some big flooding. But it'd be worth having a look at. Anything like that, particularly if there's something that dates things that might have gone since then, is really valuable for me. So I'll give you a credit, a special thanks if I use it in some way. But it'd be good to actually do a view and then see what I might be able to do with it after that. Cool. Okay. Well, look, I will close off now, guys. Thank you for watching. And, trying to find a video to see what date it was on. Okay. But, feel free to comment. I'm not sure if these comments are visible straight away, but it's a bit weird. I haven't quite worked this out yet. Not that I have to do anything. This just gets uploaded to YouTube, and a day or so later, the chat that we're looking at now gets added. And the comments, but it's kind of viewable straight afterwards, but it's not always viewable in the best quality straight away. It's a bit mad. Anyway, thanks very much, mate. I'll say thank you, and I'll do end of video now, and look forward to interacting with you on the comments and any other way. Look after yourselves. Oh, here we go. Plant operator at the Purley Oaks depot. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. There's a comment about a recent video about the Purley Oaks depot, but I'll let you have a look at that on my recent comments. Anyway, I'll go on forever otherwise. Thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, thank you for watching and listening, those of you that choose the audio option, and I will see you / speak with you in the next one. All the best.